So we've all heard it, right? The idea that achieving a truly world-class elite education absolutely demands a lifetime of crushing financial debt. I mean, the common narrative is that if you want to reach the absolute pinnacle of corporate leadership, economics, or public policy, you basically have to mortgage your entire future just to pay for the privilege. But what if I told you that some of the most prestigious academic powerhouses in the world, places that have quietly minted top CEOs, World Bank economists, and central bankers, literally cost less than that smartphone sitting in your pocket? Well, welcome to This Explainer. Today, we are completely dismantling the myth of the $1 million degree.
Okay, let's dive right into this. Here is the roadmap for our comparative guide today. We're going to start with a quick look at the true cost of elite education, introduce our 5 academic powerhouses, run the hard math on calculating their golden ROI, explore their unique strengths, and finally, uncover the secret structural formula that makes all of this possible. Section 1. The cost of elite education, and frankly, the massive global student debt crisis it creates.
Let's anchor this with a pretty jarring contrast right out of the gate. Think about the gold standard of global business education, a Harvard MBA. That's going to set you back a staggering 1.25 crore rupees. Even premier domestic institutes like IIM Ahmedabad charge around 25 lakh. I mean, that is literally the price of a luxury car. Now, the return on investment for a Harvard MBA, based on first-year average compensation, is about 1.16x. IIM Ahmedabad sits at around 1.4x. But contrast that with the Delhi School of Economics. They charge under 20,000 rupees for their entire MA economics program. That's the price of a mid-range smartphone. Yet it delivers an absolutely astonishing 80x ROI. You pay a smartphone's price and you earn a luxury car's salary every single year.
Moving on to Section 2. 5 academic powerhouses that share nearly 450 years of combined legacy. So here's the ultimate solution to this high-cost problem, mapped out perfectly through 5 publicly funded Indian institutions that just completely destroy every conventional ROI chart out there. We're looking at FMS Delhi, ISI Calcutta, TIS Mumbai, the Delhi School of Economics, and the Gokhale Institute in Pune. What we're going to do now is break this data apart and see exactly how they pull this off.
The bedrock of their success, it's an unbroken academic legacy. You just cannot buy this kind of history. Look at the Gokhale Institute, founded in 1930. That predates India's independence. Then you've got ISI Calcutta in 1931, TIS in 1936, DSE in 1949, and FMS in 1954. We aren't talking about overnight ed-tech startups promising you the moon here. We're talking about institutions with 70 to 95 years of grueling, proven academic rigor. And it's that massive timeline that built the immense employer trust driving their crazy ROIs today.
Section 3. Calculating the golden ROI. This is where we measure those incredibly low fees against some massive placement salaries.
The math here is honestly just breathtaking. Let's walk through it. At FMS Delhi, the total fee for their 2-year MBA is 2 lakh rupees, but the average placement for the class of 2025? 34.1 lakhs per annum. That's a 17x multiple. TIS Mumbai charges 1.51 lakh for its flagship HR program, giving you an average outcome of over 26 lakhs per annum, a 17.4x ROI. Then we hit the economic institutes. Gokhale Institute charges around 24,000 rupees for a 54x ROI. And DSE Delhi charges under 20,000 rupees, pulling in an average of 16 lakhs per annum for an unmatched 80x ROI. Imagine recovering your entire educational cost in less than your first month on the job. And the best part? 0 massive loans required. But wait, because there's one institution that breaks the calculator entirely, ISI Calcutta. Their flagship MSTAT program nominally costs about 50,000 rupees, right? But they actually provide a 5,000 rupee monthly fellowship while you study. Basically, they are paying you to learn, because the net cost drops to 0 or even goes negative, and graduates are easily locking in domestic offers of 50 lakhs plus and international quant roles pulling over 1 crore. The mathematical return on investment is effectively infinite. No joke.
All right, Section 4, Unique Strengths and Programs. Let's explore the distinct flavors of each of these places. First up is FMS Delhi. It's rightfully dubbed the king of ROI. Established in 1954, their flagship is the full-time MBA. What really sets them apart academically is this incredible 1:15 faculty-to-student ratio and a fiercely loyal alumni base of over 12,000 professionals. They are just laser-focused on rigorous management outcomes. In fact, their highest compensation package recently hit a massive 74 lakh. This is the exact hothouse environment that minted corporate chiefs like SpiceJet's Ajay Singh.
Now, what's really interesting about ISI Calcutta is the sheer intellectual horsepower going on there. Founded in 1931, their flagship MStat is legendary for its absolute punishing mathematical rigor. You don't just study statistics here. You master the fundamental language of data. That's why their top recruiters aren't just local firms, they're global quant heavyweights like Jane Street, Goldman Sachs, and Morgan Stanley. This intense environment even produced S.R. Srinivasavarthan, who won the Abel Prize, which is basically the Nobel Prize of Mathematics.
Next, we have TIS Mumbai, widely, and I mean widely, respected as the absolute placement god for HR. Established in 1936, their MA in Human Resources Management and Labor Relations is pretty much unmatched in the country. Students here essentially pay the cost of a budget weekend vacation to step straight into elite leadership track HR roles at massive corporations like Unilever, ITC, and Mahindra. They operate the sprawling infrastructure of 19 schools and 6 centers, creating leaders with a real sense of social responsibility, like former Thermax chairperson Anu Aga. Then there's the Delhi School of Economics, or DSE. Founded in 1949, this place is literally the RBI and Harvard feeder. Their MA in economics opens doors to the highest impact careers globally. Graduates don't just get jobs. They get fast-tracked pipelines into the World Bank, the IMF, top-tier consulting firms, and fully funded PhD programs at Harvard, MIT, and LSE. So it's absolutely no surprise that this is the alma mater of someone like Kaushik Basu, the former chief economist at the World Bank. Finally, we look at the Gokhale Institute in Pune. I like to call this one the silent giant. Established way back in 1930 by the Servants of India Society, it has these incredibly deep historical roots and a massive, massive influence on national economic policy. Their flagship MA and MSc in economics feeds directly into top roles in the RBI, Niti Aayog, corporate treasuries, and global PhDs. They deliver one of the strongest economics educations anywhere, shaping minds like Dr. Shankar Acharya, who was actually India's chief economic advisor for nearly a decade.
Which brings us to Section 5, the secret behind the numbers. Seriously, how is it economically possible to provide this level of education for so little money?
So the crucial point comes down to this very specific structural triad. Look, these institutions are not cheap because they offer low quality. It's actually the exact opposite. They're elite for 3 specific reasons. Number 1, public funding. They're government-backed, meaning the true heavy cost of the education is subsidized, totally removing that burden from the student. Number 2, extreme academic selectivity. Because the fees are basically nothing, the applicant pool is massive. That allows them to select only the absolute brightest minds. It is a fierce, fierce meritocracy. And 3, as we saw with their timelines, decades of employer trust. Companies know exactly how hard it is to get into these schools, so they recruit aggressively.
So what does this all mean for us? For you, the focused learner? It matters because it gives you a totally realistic blueprint for a world-class career without the sheer anxiety of financial ruin. Think about it. You don't need to jump through the hoops of international visas. You don't need to sign your life away on a 1 crore loan. You just bypass the student debt trap entirely. Yet, as the data clearly proves, you get strictly equal access to the most elite roles on the planet, whether that's at the World Bank, Niti Aayog, or Morgan Stanley. I want to leave you with this final, really powerful thought derived directly from our source material today. The best return on investment isn't determined by how much you spend. It's determined by how little you need to spend to reach the top. These 5 institutions prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that academic excellence and financial accessibility absolutely do not have to be mutually exclusive. It completely redefines what educational value even means in the modern world. So, if these institutions can routinely mint global leaders, central bankers, and corporate chiefs for the price of a mid-range smartphone, you really have to ask yourself, what exactly are people paying for when they take out $1 million degree? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and I highly encourage you to keep exploring how to optimize your own path to the top.